Good morning, everyone. So I've had a lot of questions about the internal side of CST Wing. So I thought I'd share my experience. This was it really opened the door for my internal journey and made a huge difference in my training. So when I first came to Hong Kong to train with Grandmaster Choi, my back was very hard, it was very tense. You can see that in some of the earlier videos. I had a very bad posture when I first arrived here. When I was training with Grandmaster Choi, he would spend a lot of time trying to soften my back and help me to rise up. So with CST Wing, one of the first things we work on is what we call sing, so trying to rise up. In order to rise up, you need to have a very soft or relaxed muscles, so you need some sort of control over your muscles. I didn't have that, and I could only achieve certain things when Grandmaster Choi would help me. So in the early days, he would spend a lot of time, if I was standing or doing my Sunam Tower, he would try to soften my back, and you can see in the videos he tries to soften. He puts his wing energy into me to soften the muscles, so he's able to soften the muscles and provide space for my spine to rise up. So the reason we soften the muscles is because we don't want any hindrance around the spine, and we don't want, if the muscles are hard, if they're tight, if they're pulling down on your spine, you cannot rise up through them. So you need some degree of softening or relaxing to give your spine enough room so that you can start to rise up through. The ultimate goal is that you rise up to the Nim Tao state, the tailbone drops, tucks under, and then you're able to put the mind force into your movements or into your wing. I could only sing a little bit when Grandmaster Choi would help me, but as soon as he walked away, I'd be back to the way I was before. So I always felt there was something missing. There was some aspect of my training that I wasn't doing that was stopping me from getting to that level. So it wasn't until I started training privately here in Hong Kong, training with Grandmaster Choi. One of his disciples was very, very close to breaking through to the ultimate level, being able to rise up and get to the Nim Tao state by herself, and that was Ada. So I started training with Ada privately, and she would help me to rise up, help me to soften my back and rise up. But I kept saying to her while she was helping me with the relaxation of my back, I kept saying I can't feel that area. So because I couldn't feel that area, I wasn't able to put the mind into that area to control anything. And her answer would be, well, you just need to keep trying. So you need to believe in the process. Believe in the process and keep trying. So the instruction she would give me is just to rise up the spine, and then drop down the muscle of the back, soften the muscle of the back. And she would say that we start on the skin, what she calls the skin level. So the surface level, that would be the first level that you're trying to break through to. So you're trying to have some control of that level. And then you work deeper and deeper, like the layers of an onion. I think I had trained this way. The instruction she gave me, I was training or going to Grandmaster Choi's school maybe 5 or 6 days a week, and then obviously train at home in the park, that sort of thing. So I was constantly practicing this, and I would have my own, because I suffered a shoulder injury many years before I came to Hong Kong. I had my own regime of stretching, relaxing, and mobilizing. So that was something I did every morning, and it was probably 3 months later, I'm guessing, I was on the MTR, which is Hong Kong's version of the subway, the underground train. And I was standing, trying to rise up, trying to relax. And then I just, middle of my upper back, an area about yay big, I was able to put my mind into there and have a feeling of, if I remember back, it was like a feeling of openness, or a feeling of, openness, softening. But the key thing is I could actually access that area myself. So that's what kick-started my journey into the internal side of CST Wing. Very pivotal, and it was the beginning of running down this road of internal Wing Chun. That was the foundation, I guess, and that's what opened up more aspects of my internal wing and the things that Grandmaster Choi was trying to do, and then I could start to understand them and start to apply some different parts of them. So it usually starts with a bit of a breakthrough. The funny thing is a lot of my breakthroughs or pivotal moments don't always come on the training floor. These habits, this way of training, it shouldn't be something that you go to class and then you do it. Then you finish your class, you stop doing it and go home. It needs to be a way of life. And that's really important, especially for CST Wing, because when you make it a part of your life changes for the better. I'm not just talking about your martial ability, your health. So my posture changed, and that was from dropping. So it's got a long way to go, but compared to where I started, it is 100 times better. Doing exercises doesn't stop you from doing wing. Once you understand how the internal works, then you can still do the exercises and relax. Key point of that is when I started Eskrima, working with the sticks, and especially back in New Zealand, we would do the Eskrima first and then we would do the wing later. And I think after a short time we decided to swap them around, and the reasoning for that is because a lot of us were feeling that we got too tense from the sticks, because it's very physical. You're spinning heavy, well, they're not heavy, but you're spinning sticks around, a lot of physical movement. And then when you finish that, you're hyped up, you go to do your Sunam Tao, and your mind won't calm down, your forearms feel rock hard, they can't relax. So we swapped it. Now it doesn't matter. I have Cacoy sticks, so very, very heavy, and I can spin those around in the park. And yes, my forearms do get hard, they do get tight, but I put the stick down and I start to do Sunam Tao, and the forearms just melt away, soften straight away. So it's not impossible. And in fact, I believe it helps your training because you have a better control of your internal side, your muscles, the posture, etc. So the health benefits. Because I had a hard back and I did a lot of physical work, physical activity, constant back pain. In the early days of training with Grandmaster Choi, my back used to feel like it was on fire. It was so hard, so tense. It was incredible pain. It would be a struggle to get to the internal road. Keep trying, keep persisting, and that was the key. So yes, I had dropped down before when Grandmaster Choi was helping me, but I just wasn't doing it consistently enough, and sort of believing that if I keep rising up, keep doing my Tan Sao, I will automatically be able to sing. No, you won't. Well, you might be able to, but I wouldn't. I needed that first step to be able to put the mind into that first area of my back. Once I could do that, then I had control of my own back. Grandmaster Choi, he was like the Einstein of Wing, the professor of Wing, and he could see when people were on the edge of making a breakthrough, or he could see when people were trained in the correct way. So if they're training the correct way, he would look at them, maybe he would give them a bit of guidance, but sometimes he would, if he was in the kitchen area of the school, he might race across the other side of the school because he could see that someone had just made a breakthrough. They had done something very correctly, or they were able to do something at that point in time. The main point I want to get across is that the internal, it is a journey. You do need to persist with the dropping down, the rising up. That is a given. You must do that. You may not be able to achieve CST Wing unless you are softening those muscles, rising up the spine. Ultimately, we want to rise to about here, the center of the head, and then beyond. So we keep going. But for the mind force and Nimtao state, you want to be able to pass through. And the most difficult area is between the shoulder blades, especially for me, because that is the most active. We're using the arms all the time, the scapulars are moving around all the time, so that can be the most active, especially when my posture was a little bit off, so that area was always tense. So you imagine someone who has their head forward, like looking at their cell phone all the time, the weight of their head, now it's off your center line, so the center of mass, if you like, of your head is now dropping down the front, so the muscles in the back again have to lock up to counteract that. The muscles in the front might get a bit shortened. Yeah, the rising up and the softening, I keep repeating this, but it is so incredibly important. And if you just keep dropping down, I wouldn't focus on a particular area. So for me, it happened in the center of my back, upper center part of my back. I was never focusing on that area. My mind was never going there. My mind was always from the shoulders, or especially the under the shoulder blades, the scapula, and going down. But the idea is you keep dropping down both sides. And then when you're doing rolling arms, luxau for instance, you keep rising up, keep dropping down. If it starts to increase into Jisao, they start to apply force forward toward you. Nothing changes. You rise up, you soften down. So I think what I'm just trying to say is persist with it. Don't give up. Like I say, it took me at least three months. So I was trying to follow the instruction the correct way. The instruction I got was always correct. My interpretation of the instruction was slightly wrong, or not slightly wrong. I was slightly to the side of the path. Yeah. So thanks for those who are watching the videos. I'll try and share more of my experiences. I hope it helps. Grandmaster Choi used to say that anyone can do it. And he would always say it's not difficult. And he's correct. It's not difficult. We make it more difficult. We start to analyze. This is a big thing with us. We analyze, especially this day and age, analyze what we're doing, question everything we're doing. Enjoy the journey. You don't put a goal on your training. So I know in especially some of the harder styles I've done, there's always a goal of, I want that next belt. So you work hard for that next belt, which is great. I still do that with the Eskrima. So I'll train very hard because I want to understand and be able to demonstrate what I've learned so I can move on to the next level. The internal side is not like that. You can't put a timer on it. You can't say, right, in 3 months I want to be able to flow through my shoulder to my elbow, and then in 6 months I want to be able to flow past my elbow. No, if you do that, you're restricting yourself. So just enjoy the journey. So yeah, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for your comments. I will try and post more. It's difficult because my main objective is training. I work part-time in Hong Kong, so I don't work very many hours. The rest of the time I'm teaching Wing or Eskrima and doing my own training on top of that, and that consumes my days. So to break out the cameras and the microphones and set up a filming session takes a lot of effort, and sometimes I got to drag people out of their training to help me. So yeah, once again, thank you. Like and subscribe. There you go, there's the plug.